Dean Legge wrapping up Georgia's 43-14 win over the Vols. A tight game for about a quarter and a little bit, but then Tennessee, they just don't have the horses. And Georgia wound up very balanced on the night. 238 rushing and 288 passing. Jake going 24-29. A really impressive performance by him. He's not very flashy, but it's hard only to have 5 incompletions in a football game when you throw almost 30 times. On top of that, the Vols only eking out 70 rushing yards. Look, these programs aren't in the same universe right now. I mean, Tennessee has got a long, long way to go. I think they're 1-5 or 1-4, whatever it is. It's 1 and something. It's not good. And I hesitate to say this because people will be, kind of like, what are you talking about? But I'm worried about this athletic department in a way that I kind of have not been worried in the past. I mean, it's not crumbling, but it's in bad shape. And the best way to make it worse is by having a 3-win football season. I mean, I'm looking at this stadium right now. Sanford Stadium glows. It looks nice. The colors look right. I mean, it's just, and I got nothing against Tennessee. I don't have anything bad to say against Tennessee. I'm just calling it like I see it. There's multiple colors of yellow or orange, whatever it is. I mean, I would in a way start over or just repaint this whole place. It's so loud and it's a tough place to play, but like in terms of aesthetics, it's just not great. And you look at Tennessee's uniforms, they pop, but like this stadium, ooh, I mean, there's rust on the ground here. If I were a Tennessee fan, I mean, I'd be frustrated with this stuff. And it gets back to this though, if you can't win, the money's not going to come in, money doesn't come in, and you have a facility that's this large, it's hard. And Thompson Bowling is huge too. I know people don't care about me talking about this, but all this stuff adds up. And it can't be surprising after a while that Tennessee's had as many 7 lost seasons this decade or this century as Georgia had since the 50s. It all adds up. Tonight, what added up was just Georgia just consistently pounding the ball at the Vols. 238 yards for Georgia rushing. That's a lot. They wound up with 526. Look, there's a couple of things Georgia's got to get cleaned up. First of all, way too many penalties. 11 penalties. That's too much. And then secondly, the punting situation has got to be dealt with. I mean, the kid has either got to perform or they're going to have to make some changes. It's just, I'm not celebrating that, but it's time. I mean, it is not going to work the way that it was. The shanks are no good, and neither punter had a good night. Neither punter had a good night, both around 35 yards. But when you win by such a large margin, almost 30 points. And the other thing is too, this is what I'm going to write about, is their expectation is that Georgia just comes in and just wipes the field with people from the word go. I mean, that's not how it's going to be. These teams, particularly on the road, it's going to be giving Georgia their best shot. It's a lot like when Kentucky comes to Athens and Georgia sticks around for the first half, the second half, 10 minutes in, and then Kentucky just surges. That's what you're dealing with Georgia right now. And Alabama, and if you want to say Clemson, I guess after last week though, that was discouraging. But they're going to have to play the full 4 quarters. I mean, that's the part people don't seem to get, is Georgia's not going to blow people out in the first half. It's just not going to happen. But as time moves on, slowly and steadily, they wear on people. And you saw tonight, Tennessee came out and they played pretty well. They had a lead against Georgia, okay? I don't think I saw that coming. We were discussing how many touchdowns they would have. I thought they'd only have 1. They had 2, a big play for the Vols. The new kid looked fine. He looked adequate. They eventually replaced him. He went 14 for 28 with the pick was not great. He was sacked 3 times. I mean, Juwan Jennings, I think he's finally gone. This has to be his last game. Marquez Callaway, a kid from Middle Georgia, Jake and him had a good moment after the game. And then Kirby's going crazy after the game. Look like a crazy person in the stands. Tongue out, just... He can play it cool and everything, that's fine, but I know it means a lot for him to be the person leading Georgia to beat Tennessee. Because when we were in college, they had no business being on the field with Tennessee. I can remember, one game in particular where they played over the head in 96, 97 they came here, and it just, and then Tennessee just beat their brains in 1998. So I know Kirby was happy for this. We're rolling a lot of video and photo over the top of this thing. I mean, the beat goes on. You know, you got Carolina next, then the Cats, week off, and the Gators, who got a huge win tonight. I'm not sure how good Florida is versus the other top 5 teams, but they're going to be a top 5 or 6 team when they come to Jacksonville. Well, maybe not. I mean, at this point, I'm not putting anything past those guys because they're winning games that they probably shouldn't win. I mean, like, they're not playing great. Maybe Auburn, I don't know. I think you've got a set group of teams. I think Notre Dame is just outside of that, and maybe Florida's just outside of that. I don't know. The more college football I watch, the less I think I understand it. But this was a dominating win. I mean, a near 30-point win for Georgia. That's not, like, 29-point win over Tennessee. That's not common in Neyland. So this is a pretty bad ass beating. All right, Dean Legge wrapping up in Neyland Stadium. Go to dawgpost.com, dawgpost.com. Thanks for everybody for listening. Subscribe, like, comment. Do you think what I said was right or wrong? We'll see you on Dawg Post.